Hello everyone and welcome back to Sendit's Weather channel, and today we are looking at a pretty special event, one which is very peculiar and probably will not happen for a long time. This is what we're going to call today, and probably has been referred to before, as the December to Remember. Now personally I don't know too much about this because I was 3 years old, but we're going to take a look back at it today. I have some stats for it. It was a pretty exceptional period. It appeared out of nowhere, is how I show it, which is why we're looking at the 18th of November to start with. I've got some notes here. So it's the December to Remember. The average temperature was -1 degrees, which is a rarity in itself. We never see that. The coldest day was the 1st of December, as you're about to see, with the average temperature being -8.7 degrees, exceptionally cold. Daytime temperatures and nighttime temperatures as low as -22. And the third sunniest and driest on record as well. So definitely a very extreme period, which obviously it's overshadowed by the 09-10 winter, which was, the last fully fledged cold winter, well, especially in January and December at times. But we'll have a look back at this one today. So if you do enjoy today's video, looking back at a pretty exceptional winter, which probably won't happen this year, but there you go. Consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. I do appreciate your continued support. And we've also got all the merch stuff as well, which is all linked in the description if you're interested. Anyway, let's get on. So we're going to start on the 18th of November, and we had low pressure moving in from off the Atlantic. And it's, what you'd expect. High pressure's out to our west. Region in the Atlantic, a westerly flow. Nothing too incredible going on. Temperatures a little bit milder than average. As you can see though, even by the 21st, high pressure is already surging northwestwards, becoming a proper Atlantic ridge, blocking in the Atlantic and turning the wind already into a northeasterly direction. Now, as you can see, because it is November, it's not too potent. We don't even have the -5 line into Scotland, but it is cooler and sets the trend of what's about to happen. Now, as you can see, it becomes a fully fledged Greenland high, Greenland block, and really the wind is coming in from a northeasterly direction, and this is foreshadowing this. Low pressure surges south and eastwards over Scandinavia to some part of Scandinavia and Eastern Europe, and high pressure's ridging in the Atlantic, a proper Greenland block, or an Atlantic ridge. Winds are in from a northerly direction, and we are finally starting to tap into the cold air. The -5 line sinking southwards. Now, you can just see that the high pressure is strengthening and maintained out to our west, with areas of low pressure in the North Sea, bringing down a pretty cold north-northeasterly wind, even for November standards. Pretty cold there. Definitely plenty of snow showers possible in the north and the east, with the isobars, especially there could be a little feature there over northwestern Scotland there on the 25th. You can just see the strengthening of the high pressure towards Greenland, properly surging in the Atlantic, and it just continues to block off at the Atlantic to our west. It just is prevented from moving in from our normal, typical weather pattern, and just continues a cold northerly wind. So our 25th, we're properly in a cold spell, -5 line through the country. Definitely there's a little bit of a trough there, or a little area of low pressure spinning through on the 26th. That could bring, that probably did bring bits of snow to the south and southeast in particular. The -5 line still covering the country, and with this sort of the isobars moving out, could have been a very cold night possible on the 26th. But you can see into the 27th again, high pressure still very strong and strengthening all the time to our west in the Atlantic, and the winds are strengthening from a proper northeasterly direction. We've got kinks in the isobars, the kinky isobars. They are little features and troughs bringing in plenty of snowfall, and it's got even colder now by the 27th with the -10 degree ice firm through northern Britain. Even by the 28th, the wind's into a proper easterly direction now. A beast from the east, as you'd call it, but of course it's the end of November, so it's just the -5 line we're moving through. But exceptional conditions. High pressure just maintained up to our north and west, and we bring in a proper long-fetched easterly wind. The origin of the air is from Western Russia, and it is definitely very cold. Look at that. It's getting even colder for parts of Scandinavia there. Purples and blues. And then, into the 30th, we begin to drag that in. Look how far south the jet stream is. The jet stream's into Spain. Normally, it's over the top of us, but it's gone into Spain. High pressure to our west. Winds in from a proper easterly direction. It's proper block to our north. Probably quite dry in the north, but further south and eastwards, through with the isobars, definitely bringing in plenty of snowfall. with this. -10 line is through the country, and even by the 31st, the -10 line is still very much present. The high pressure beginning to weaken or move out to our west before re-strengthening once again. Definitely a proper negative NEO pattern. This is like a wet dream for Goldies. The -10 line just maintained even into the start of December. You can see does briefly cool off, or sorry, turn a little bit milder, as we actually see an area of low pressure just to the north. High pressure is still very strong to our west, so you know what's coming. That clears out of the way, so it does turn milder briefly, but again, probably still quite cold on the surface, definitely probably some snow potential, and then back into northerly winds by the 4th. Going beyond that into the 5th of December, high pressure is still out to our west, and you can see very slack isobars bringing in probably some very cold air. If you remember from what I said at the start of the video, the 1st December, the coldest day, the coldest average temperature is -8.7. It's definitely evident there because the -10 line is through the country, bitterly cold air. So definitely bringing in colder air. You can see by the 6th of December, the isobars beginning to open up again. So definitely probably quite a cold and frosty night. The upper air temperatures aren't anything too ridiculous to write home about, but still pretty cold. Now, you can see the high pressure begins to topple, but again brings in another northerly shot, probably mostly dry though there, and cold is the theme. The high pressure begins to settle over the top of the UK, just out to our northwest, and again you might be able to see there's still quite a bit of cold air to our east. So the high pressure topples over the country, but then here we go. What I'd call an omega block develops and begins to build out properly in the Atlantic, and look at that surge of cold air from the north. You can just see it there, sat there waiting in the wings to go boom, and there you go. 16th of December, extensive northern blocking, extensive, like proper extensive, you don't see this these days. Low pressure parked over Scandinavia, and winds are in from a long-fetched northerly wind. They're originating from the poles and the Arctic Circle. That is how cold they are. -15 touching or gracing the far north of the Scotland, -10 line clear in the UK, and that is bitterly cold. With an polar low, that's bringing in copious amounts of snow, particularly to the north. I'm sure they were caked in snow on the 17th, and probably most regions as well. That area of low pressure begins to slip to our south, proper blocking. These are like proper dream charts, these, which is why it's so rare to see it. Probably the coldest since 1981 would be my guess. You can see the polar low trapped within the flow, and it's pretty cold still because of the air masses around, and that is definitely bringing in plenty of snow showers, maybe even drifting with quite strong winds. Another that low pressure begins to weaken, but develops into a low affecting the far south and southeast. That's going to be bringing in lots of snow. Lows sliding through the country. High pressure is beginning to move further north, so a little bit too far north to allow more cold air in, but isobars opening up again. Cold nights definitely possible by 21st, and it's drying out a little bit more. 22nd though, again still heights quite strong to the north, and the winds are back in from a northeasterly direction. More probably snow potential in the south there, courtesy of this area of low pressure over Spain. So just exceptional period. But by the 25th, it's quite a dry but very cold Christmas Day. High pressure ridging through the country. You can see another surge of cold air from the north into the just to the east of the country before high pressure ridges back in to end the month. Has another go going northwards into the start of January 2011, but doesn't quite. You can see that we get very close to some exceptionally cold air again, but doesn't quite come off. But pretty exceptional stuff here. This is why it's so rare. Even into the 6th of Jan, look, we're still bringing in cold northerly winds though at times, but definitely nowhere near as extreme as that December. That's why it is so rare and so shocking if you see a winter like that. Such as 2018. Everyone goes on about 2018, but it wasn't anything compared to that in comparison, really. It was very cold. Don't get me wrong, bitterly cold from the east, because from an easterly wind, it felt much colder than from the north, probably, but definitely much more snow-laden there, I would say, with polar sliding southwards. It's a very rare occurrence, but never out of the question. So, you know, just thought it'd be something interesting to look at for a change. So, yeah, if you did find it informative, leave a like and subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. Thank you all very much for watching today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.